Hi guys, today at Canadian Cutting Edge we're looking at the Ruike Hornet F815. It's a little fixed blade, full tang knife, G10 handle scales, nicely skeletonized. It's a nice small, basically EDC fixed blade is what I'm calling it. It's got a very special sheath made of ABS that can fit on your belt. You could take this clip off and turn it into a neck knife. There's a lot of different ways to use this thing. Made of Sandvik 14C28N steel, stainless steel, stonewash. So many great things about this knife. Stick around because you want to see this full review coming up right now. I've been carrying this knife for a little while and I really like it. It's a knife that I have grown to kind of enjoy. I've even carried it around town a little bit, and of course my shirt has been sort of hanging over it, so it's not terribly visible. With this orange handle, everybody be noticing it, but it's small enough to carry, underneath an untucked shirt, and people don't really notice it. At least I didn't have anybody asking me any questions or anything. I don't think I had any weird looks coming my way, at least none that I noticed. And it's pretty good for this size of knife. Let's talk about the specs of this knife, and then we're going to get on to how much I like it. This knife has an overall length of 19 centimeters, almost 7.5 inches, not quite, 7.48, whatever. The blade length is 8.5 centimeters. The cutting edge is 8.1 centimeters. That's 3.35, or cutting edge 3.2 inches. The thickness of the blade here, it's a 3.5 millimeter thickness, 0.14 inches. The behind the grind thickness of the edge here is 0.45 millimeters, which is 0.018 inches, which is a perfect EDC behind the grind thickness. I'm calling this a full flat grind. Yes, I know it's not fully to the top, but I've given my arguments before about why I call this a full flat. I don't call this a saber grind. If the grind was only about halfway up, I might call it a saber grind, but it's almost an inch deep, this grind. So that's why I'm calling it what it is. The steel is 14C28N. The model number is the Hornet F815-J. And that's a date stamp. I still have to get the, like to the left of my finger is a date stamp. I still have to get the listing to show how to figure out what that means. I believe that the triangle in that particular orientation means 2017 and the 01 means January. That's my very good educated guess, but we'll see for sure in a little while. G10 handle scales and ABS plastic sheath. And this sheath is kind of unique. It's got a little lever right here so that you can turn it. There are 9 different positions that this locks into, so you can have the sheath hanging in any orientation you want. I'm not too fond of how thick these standoffs are. So what I might do is find some other screws to use and have it a little bit closer to the knife itself. That'll help it not stand quite so far off of my hip. I think it's just a little bit too far. This is almost 1/4 of an inch that these are standing off, and I'd like them to be, a little less than 1/8 of an inch. You can use these two to put some kind of cordage on so that you can wear it around your neck, because the click is quite good. I wouldn't have thought that an ABS sheath would have as good retention as this does. You can hear a little bit of a rattle there, but it holds in quite snugly, which is a very good thing. So I really like this sheath. You can wear it so many different ways. You don't even have to take your belt off. As you can see, this slides open, so you can slide this over your belt. You only have an 1.5 inch belt that it'll work with. It won't work with a belt that's any deeper than 1.5 inches, but that's your very common size for belts anyways. And it accommodates the thickness of a regular leather belt as well. Very cool sheath. I like it an awful lot. Let's put that aside. Here's the knife. I like this stonewash grind. We've got a drop point here, a swedge all the way across the top, nice great big belly, short flat area here, sharpener's choil, bit of a finger guard, and then the back end is swooping down and the whole way, and it just fits into the palm of the hand very, very well. We've got about an inch this way, all the way along, just under an inch, all the way along the same size. The thickness of the handle here is about a centimeter, about 3/8 of an inch, and it's a very, very comfortable size. I'm sure that people with small, medium, and large hands will find this knife very, very comfortable. If you've got hands a little bit larger than mine, if you're in that extra large size, in Europe about 10 or larger, it might start to feel a little bit too small for your hands. But anybody with large and smaller hands is going to find this knife very comfortable. I like the sort of harpoon kind of point here. That's not really what it is, but it's a little bit like that. And so your thumb rests right in there very well. And it's a good cutting knife. Let's do a little bit of demonstration here. And it just slices very, very easily and very well. You like that? I like that. I didn't do this test right out of the box. It was actually even sharper when I first got it. I forgot to record the sharpness test earlier on, so I'm recording this section of the video a little bit later, but it cuts quite well. I've got some glossy paper here, and let's see how well that cuts. Very well. No problem cutting glossy paper. A couple layers of paracord just zips through that very, very easily. No problem at all. And slicing works just great. This is that 9-strand 550 paracord. Let me show you how well it works with regular pine. I've just got a small block of wood here, and it just very easily is cutting wood. No problem at all. I could cut bigger. I just don't want to make a huge mess in my basement right now. I'll tell you this much. This knife is the perfect small camp knife. The knife that you want to, if you're in a situation where you can EDC a fixed blade, this guy is perfect for that kind of situation. And where I live, that's no problem at all. In rural Alberta, a lot of ranching and farming country around here. There's lots of those places all over North America and other countries as well. And there's other places where it's just fine to wear a fixed blade, and this knife just gets her done. I don't know, you might be in another job where a fixed blade comes in handy. Let me know in the comments below where you would use a fixed blade like this. Because it's not huge. Like I said, it's just over 3 inches of cutting edge. It's a nice blade for just working all over the place. Those of you who aren't familiar with 14C28N Sandvik steel, I call 14C28N the best budget steel that I know of. Sandvik 12C27 is the steel that they use as a base to begin working on this steel, the 14C28N. And so they used that and they tweaked it until they came up with this. And this is probably a mid-grade steel more so than a budget steel, but it comes in at a budget price. You get knives that are easily affordable. This guy costs $65.95 at ruikecanada.ca. And I'll put a link in the description below directly to this page and to their general page as well, so you can take a look at their fixed blades, their folding knives, and their multi-tool knives. Their selection isn't that huge. The company's not that old. It's a Chinese company, and Ruike Canada is the distributorship for Canada. So they have given this knife to me to review, and I thank them very much for it. And I'm still trying my very best to give you an honest review. I think I do pretty good at that with integrity. This knife just hits a lot of the great spots for me. I like flat grinds. I like stonewash. I like G10. I like that it's not very heavy. I never told you the weight, did I? The weight of this is 105 grams, which is 3.7 ounces. That's all that this knife is. So it's a nice little knife. It's short. It's I think it's a robust kind of boldness. It's a sort of a sedate kind of boldness. I mean, that's not the right word. It's a subdued boldness. It's not in your face, but it's there, and it looks like it can do just about any job you want to send its way. I think I like the name Hornet for this knife. It's a knife that if you've ever been stung by a hornet, it's not very big, but it does quite the number on you. And that's what I think of this knife. It can do a great job without being an in-your-face kind of knife. And just look at the light bouncing off of this, even though it is a stone wash and it's not super reflective. You can see that grind, and the grind's very reflective here, that final grind. It's a nice knife. I'm liking it an awful lot. I'm not doing an awful long review. This knife just sort of speaks for itself. If you're interested in getting one of these, please go to the link that I got in the description below, ruikeknives.ca, and you'll be able to find this knife. They've only got a couple fixed blades, and I hope to be able to review them all because they look awesome. And I hope to be able to send some more reviews your way of their other folding blades as well. So thank you so much for watching this review. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber yet. Click on that bell so that you'll be notified of every video, and comment. That's my favorite section of the videos. I like interacting with you guys. And remember, guys, cut towards your chum, that is the other guy, and not your thumb.